Emily, you used the word massacre to describe what happened on October the 7th, the 1,200 plus Israelis killed. Would you also use the word massacre to describe the killing of 24,000 Palestinians?
Absolutely not. And the reason for that is because one of them is a reaction to a terrorist organization which intentionally targeted civilians. What we're seeing from the IDF is not the intentional targeting of civilians. It's an unfortunate reality that in war there are civilian casualties, but to compare those in any way morally is absolutely obscene.
But how do you compare? Okay, but I'm just trying to understand how would you compare 1,200 to 24,000? No, really.
Would you like more Israelis to die? Is that what you want? Would you be happy if 24,000 Israelis died?
Well, apparently Netanyahu is happy with more Palestinians to die. Because it happens every day.
That's absolutely
Hundreds
false.
are being killed.
False.
So Palestinians are not being killed every day.
To die. No one wants Palestinian civilians to die.
Emily,
the reality is
all right,
Israel has an operation
all right.
to carry out in order to target terrorists. It is not Israel's responsibility that Hamas is using civilian infrastructure, that they are building tunnels under hospitals and schools, that they are using children to carry out some of their terrorist activities.
The infrastructure has basically been destroyed by this point, Emily. All right, listen, let me get let me get another question if I can. But I appreciate you joining us here, by the way, and I think it's great that you're coming on international television to push back against what is a lot of angst. Let me ask you this. For example, you're an Israeli. You're in Tel Aviv right now. You've told me how the war has affected you so far. How do you feel then, as an Israeli, Emily, when you have millions of people marching around the world in Malaysia, South Africa, the UK, the US, Indonesia, Thailand, Japan, Italy, Greece, and Pakistan? How do you feel on a personal level when so many people in so many countries have become anti-Israel and pro-Palestinian?
I think it's absolutely shameful. The level of disinformation, people who don't know what's actually happening on the ground, and quite frankly, the people who do know what's happening on the ground and are choosing willfully to side with terrorist organizations. And by the way, this isn't just about Israel. The protests that we saw in London were not just about what's happening on the ground in Gaza or in Israel. They're also in favor of the Houthis, which are an Iranian-backed terrorist organization, as well as Hamas, which are carrying out chaos, rape, sexual assault as a method of war, and all kinds of crimes against humanity, not just against the people they're fighting against, but in the case of the Palestinians, against their own people as well. So this is a reality that we're dealing with, where people are not aware of the gravity of evil of regimes like the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is who was behind the October 7th attack. It's who's behind the terrorist proxies. It's
I know, but Emily, you're talking about Yemen, then you're talking about Iran. We're not talking. Look, I haven't addressed you and asked you about the broader perspective here, but the fact is, what's happening right now.
The same evil.
Listen, South Africa has taken Israel to the International Court of Justice on charges of genocide, Emily. These are very serious charges, all right? Now, listen, I appreciate you coming on international television. As an Israeli citizen, I'm grateful for you preparing to push back. But the world, Emily, is really speaking in one voice right now. And I think a lot of Israelis feel very much alone.